going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Got a little bit of an update on the CR250 here. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd really appreciate it if you would. Like the video, share the video, all that stuff. But anyways, come check this out. So it's been a little while since I put an update up on this. The frame is somewhere else right now. I'm slowly getting at sanding it and grinding the paint off it and painting it. I haven't got it all done yet, but soon the frame will be done. But in the meantime, I got a bunch of stuff in. So first off, these forks. I had these forks rebuilt because the seals were leaking pretty bad, and I figured I'm going this far with this thing, I might as well get them rebuilt. So these are good to go. I'll have to put some air in them. I didn't put any air in them yet, but oil's changed, the seals are changed. That's all good to go. I have a line on some stock rear shocks since mine are pretty much toast. I was going to rebuild these, but the shafts are finished on them and everything's pretty much finished. So got a line on some used stock ones that actually look really good. They do need a rebuild, but they look really good and the shafts are good, so they're rebuildable. But in the meantime, I got a bunch of parts in. So I got some new levers, OEM style levers, got a new air filter, a new chain, gold chain, some new cables. I'm still missing a front brake cable, which I haven't found yet, but I'll get to that. Wheel bearings, front sprocket, rear sprocket isn't in yet. I got a new piston, 70.25 mil bore, which I believe was 10 thou over. I got the coil and CDI I needed. Now I don't know, like I had mentioned in the first video, you have to match up the CDI. It's gonna have a letter on it somewhere. You have to match it up with the stator that's in the engine. And I wasn't sure if that was true or not when I ordered this. I had heard it, but I wasn't really sure. Turns out it is true after I ordered this, so I don't even know if it's the same one, but we'll find out when we get there. I got some new grips because I needed the throttle tube. The throttle tube actually looks wrong, but we'll see when we get there. Airbox strap, minor things, and then that bushing that I had to cut off. So what we're going to be doing today is I'm going to be cleaning up this engine because it's filthy. We're going to be pulling the clutch cover off and the stator cover off, mag cover off. We're going to take a quick look inside. I've decided not to split the cases, which might bite me in the end, but I'm going to take the risk. But I will pull the clutch cover off, take a look inside, make sure the clutch looks okay, the plates look okay. Same with the stator mag cover, pull that off. And we'll clean it all up. I'm going to paint this as well. I don't know if you noticed a second ago, but I painted the cylinder and the head, and it actually turned out very well. I'm not sure if I have a picture or video of what it looked like before, but anyways, you can go back to the past videos and see it if you want. It's pretty crusty. So that's been painted. Engine's going with the same high temp paint as the cylinder and head is. And also, yeah, sorry, the biggest part I bought here, I forgot, all new plastics. So these ones are from DC Plastics. I heard some people say some negative things about them, but I'd already ordered them by the time I mentioned I was going to buy them. So hopefully they'll turn out all right. They actually look pretty good. I don't really see an issue with them. I think what most people were complaining was the red isn't the exact red color, but oh well. And I also ordered a new seat pan because the seat pan on mine is all busted up and repaired. And I got a fresh seat cover in, replica seat cover in for that as well. So we'll have to get that on too. So I think that is all the new parts. Oh, and there's a gasket kit in there as well. But I think that's it for new parts. So let's get this bottom end all cleaned up, get all the gunk off it, and then we'll start pulling covers off. We're going to sand these covers down, get those painted. That way, once we put the covers back on, we can tape them all off so that we're not getting paint on all these bolt heads here, because I don't want to just make everything red, right? You got to have some kind of clean things there. So yeah, let's get this bottom end cleaned up. All right, so we got the flywheel cover off here, and what a mess. Full of water, everything's corroded. The inside here, inside of the flywheel that spins around these coils here, is very, very, very corroded, which actually could have been their spark issue, and maybe they were chasing the wrong thing. So I'm going to pull this flywheel off, clean all this up. All this has to get cleaned up too, obviously, and we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so we got this flywheel cleaned up a little bit. Now you can see there's actually bare metal where there should be, rather than a bunch of corrosion and junk and whatnot that was on there. So there's no way that would have made any spark. Not to mention that on the edge of your stator coils here, these were all built up with corrosion and gunk too. So all of these have been sanded down, so now they should make good continuity between the two, or at least I hope so. I got the stator cover out. It's drying right now. I got paint drying on it. So in the meantime, I pulled the clutch cover off, and I guess somewhat of a good sign. There is oil in there. The oil does not look good, obviously. I wouldn't expect it to, but there's oil in there, so that's a plus. Basically, all I want to look at here is I want to pull the clutch apart and make sure that the plates still look good, and then the basket isn't really grooved. If it's grooved, we can sand down the edges between where the plates sit, where the plates sit in the groove of the basket. If it's a traditional style basket, I'll see once I get it apart. But yeah, so we're going to pull this apart. We're going to look at the plates, make sure the plates still have good material left on them. If they don't, we're going to put new clutch plates in it. But that's where we're at now. So I'm going to pull the clutch out of this thing and take a look at how it looks. I'm going to be painting this cover as well. I got a new seal kit coming in, so I'll have these seals new, and the new countershaft seal that I had mentioned in the other video, that'll be new. It's not in yet, but we're getting there. Parts are coming in slowly. So let's get this clutch out of here and see what that looks like. All right, guys, finally some good news here. Basket actually looks good. Gear on the back is nice. I was worried it was going to be all sloppy and the teeth are going to be worn, and it's not. Everything looks good. Even the fiber plates look good. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to change them. They look perfect. The only thing I am going to do is clean up these steel plates. I'm just going to go over them really light with an emery cloth or something like that and clean them up good. But I think this is all going to go back together without any new parts. It looks surprisingly good. So for once, finally have some good news here. This whole bike from the get-go has just been problem after problem after problem, but at least one thing to look at is the clutch does look good. So we'll get those steel plates cleaned up and we'll get some parts painted, and then we're kind of waiting for those seals to come in for the cover because they're not in yet. But once that's in, I'll get both the new covers on. The rest of the motor's going to get painted as well. And then we'll put that new top end on. All right, guys, it's been a couple weeks. I haven't really had much time to work on this, which is why it's been such a time gap between my last video and this one, but I'm working on it. But I think when we last left off, I pulled the clutch apart and I said everything was good. I started looking at it a bit more, and the clutch plates were they were okay, but not the greatest. And I'm not going to go through all this trouble and put them back in, and, you know, they may or may not be good. So I went and bought a new set of plates. So we're going to throw some new plates in. In the meantime, sorry, it's a total disaster here, but I'm just working on getting the old crank seals out. I did buy a new seal kit for this bike. Well, if you need a seal kit for an 80 CR250, there's a part number. Anyways, I bought a new seal kit for the bike, so that's all new seals for both. Sorry, the clutch cover's got 2 seals in it. There's also your crank seals, your seal under your clutch actuator, and then your countershaft seal. So we got all new seals for it. We're gonna get these crank seals in. Then we'll start working on getting the clutch in and all that. But you know what? Before that, I think we're going to get the crank seal in. I got to clean up the rest of the motor. This black paint that someone painted, it's been the biggest nightmare ever. I can't even tell you how much time I spent to get the paint off. So we're going to get that crank seal in. We'll get the crank seal in on the other side as well. We're going to get all this black paint off, stripped, and then we're going to paint these cases. And then we're going to go ahead and assemble the clutch, put the covers on, which are already painted. I guess I'll show you that real quick. So there's the stator cover, there's a clutch cover right there, turned out really nice, with new seals in it right there. And then we have our top end already painted as well. So let's get these seals in, get this thing painted, and get it together. All right, so here's where we're at with this thing. Got those crank seals in, got the cases nice and painted, it's looking good. New countershaft seals in, all new seals. Every seal on the engine's been changed. So here's where you're at. As you can see, actually came out really nice. So I've checked my ring end gap. Wiseco calls for 20 throw. I checked both rings and they're right there, almost bang on 20. 20's a little tight, but it's right there. So we're good for that. I guess, yeah, if you guys are curious how I normally do the end gap, I'll throw my rings in the cylinder. I push it down with the piston so that the ring is sitting, you know, flat in the cylinder. Because if you just push it in by hand, you know, you could have one side lower than the other. That'll affect your ring gap. So I always put it in and push it down a bit with the piston. That makes the ring square, and you can check your end gap. So I think I might just time lapse the rest of this. So we're gonna throw the clutch in with the new plates. These are the old ones, those aren't going back in. I'll throw the clutch in with the new plates, the stator, the mag, flywheel, the flywheel cover, all that stuff's got to go back on. Clutch cover's got to go back on, and then we'll put the top end on. I got all new gaskets for it as well. So yeah, maybe let's time lapse this and we'll get this whole motor back together finally.
Aside from my soul, there goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from my soul. I think it's all angels just walk by. There goes a sight from my soul.
All right, just got done putting this motor together. Check it out, it looks really good. So here it is. Everything's all freshly painted, new top end piston rings, bores sized for it really well. Everything turned out pretty good. All the clutch plates, everything went in fine. I actually did make one mistake. I didn't show it, but I assembled the whole clutch cover with everything inside, but I forgot to actually put tension on your kicker spring so that it actually returns by itself. I had to pull this back off and redo it, but turned out fine. But yeah, motor turned out really good. Looks great. Everything looks nice. So it's probably it for this video. I was going to do the reed cage and the exhaust manifold. There's a little, well, there it is actually, little flange that your pipe goes over. But I'll do that on another video. But yeah, that's it for now. Next video, we're going to start throwing it into the frame. Guess I give you a really quick sneak peek at that. Oh, there it is. So yeah, that's it for now. So next video, we'll get that motor in the frame, and we'll start to get this thing together. If you like this stuff, like I said at the start of the video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, send it to your buddies, share it, all that good stuff. If you don't want to do that, doesn't hurt my feelings. You don't have to. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned. We'll have more of this up. And sledding season's almost here, so soon enough we're going to have the sled videos there. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you later.